Go.
Streaming from South Africa to the world. This is the Stonks Go Moon podcast. What just happened? We break it down so you don't have to.
Welcome everyone to the Stonks Go Moon podcast. My guest today, Stone Giddings. He is the head of growth at the Mira Network. Welcome to the pod.
Hey, what's up, man?
Good to you, dude.
Good, can't complain. So we got Rocco and Stone on today. I feel like there's something funny that we can do with that.
Dude, you've got probably the coolest name. I think like Tom Cruise and Sylvester Stallone and then Stone Giddings. I mean, what's up with that? Like, were your parents just like rock stars or what?
Oh my gosh, rock stars are crazy. I think the jury's still out on that.
Okay.
But my mom, she had a crush on this reporter, Stone Phillips,
Okay.
who was a reporter for Fox News back in the day. I think he was related to Stonewall Jackson, and so his full name was Stone too. And so that's where it comes from. It's from Stone Phillips, funnily enough. And so yeah, luckily they took the chance, and luckily I'm on the taller side. You can imagine how well this name would fit if I was like a 5'5" dude.
Yeah, no. How tall are you? How tall are you?
6'9".
6'9". So what's that in meters? It's like almost 7 foot, almost 2 meters.
207.
Wow.
207. Yeah. Centimeters.
I'm like 184. So that's proper. That's proper tall, man. Now, awesome.
Yeah. No, exactly. Definitely tall enough, thankfully.
Born and bred in America?
Yeah, I grew up in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hopefully it's not too bad of a thing. I've got the surfboards at the back there.
Awesome, man.
So, but then I've been all over. I'll give you my background real quick, but I
sure.
went to college, went to Cornell, and then graduated early, was playing basketball there, went to Arizona. I'm not sure how big of a basketball fan you are or how familiar with the city you are in the States, but Arizona is a really good basketball school.
Yes.
I was starting next to 3 NBA draft picks. These guys, Nico Mannion, Josh Green, who just got traded from the Dallas Mavericks actually, but was just playing in the NBA Finals. Zeke Naji, who plays on the Denver Nuggets and just won an NBA championship last year with them, and Nikola Jokic. We had this guy.
What year was this? What year was
2020? 2019.
So you missed NHL by like this.
So I was talking to my coach from Arizona the other day, and he's like, Stone, if you would have come out from Cornell today, he said you would have made $800,000 is your market value, probably somewhere in the like $700,000 to $900,000 range. But luckily, I got an experience out of it, and we got fucked so hard. We were playing at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, right? A week away from the NCAA tournament, guaranteed entry, top 25 team the whole year. We win our first game. We go back to the MGM. That night was the night Rudy Gobert from the Utah Jazz touches all the microphones and gave everybody COVID in the NBA. Adam Silver comes on, cancels the NBA season. We wake up the next day at the MGM. Conference tournament canceled. NCAA tournament canceled. Back home 72 hours later. So I had quite the shock out of basketball, to say the least. I had some opportunities to go play pro in Japan right after that, but like mid-pandemic, going to Fukushima didn't seem like the best thing to do. And so wound up joining Accel on the venture capital side of things and sat on their growth fund. And that's how I kind of got connected with Karan, who's the founder here at Mira.
Yeah. But did you go and play in Japan and Portugal or not?
So then I did this last year. So I worked at Accel for 2 years.
Okay.
And then after doing that for 2 years, I then jumped into crypto full time, was doing like business development stuff for this L1 Cadena.
Cadena. Yeah, I just had Annalise Osborne on a couple of weeks ago.
Cool. Yeah, I just met up with her for the first time a couple of weeks ago.
She's awesome. She's electric, by the way.
Yeah, no, she's really good. She joined right after I left. So I was at Cadena for like a year. And then last August, I left and went and played professionally over in Japan this past fall, and then came back home after getting injured in October and spent the holidays here, and then went over and finished the year playing in Portugal in their top division. And that's kind of when I got connected with Karan and started with Mira earlier this year.
Yeah. So kind of why not go and play in the G League and why go overseas? What's that about?
Number one, like the G League type of basketball style is very much like I don't think it's the best basketball style. It's very nepotistic in the sense like you've got your two-way players in the NBA, and it's like watching the Lakers summer league team.
Yeah.
Ronnie should not be in the G League. The facilities and everything aren't the best. And, the bottom line is, like, for a guy like myself, you probably aren't going to get the look being 26, 27 years old.
Yeah, okay.
Like being a rookie in the G League at 26, 27.
Yeah.
And so my thought process was like, number one, it just doesn't seem as fun doing the G League. Like it seemed pretty miserable with like the type of individuals they have in the space and like whatnot. And so wanted to go overseas and kind of prove myself out there, hopefully get to like the thought process, like if I could do well over there, like get up to a Euro League type of team, and then maybe I can get an NBA look. But like after the season, especially, like I know this one guy, Matt Morgan, that I played college basketball with at Cornell, and he's kind of going that route. He's been playing on great teams. He started off in the G League on the Raptors, this point guard, shooting guard guy. And then he's been playing overseas for like 4 years across like France, was playing in the same league as Wemby when Wemby was there, was playing on the best team in London this year, got pulled back to Charlotte Hornets for the summer league, set the record for Charlotte and had like a 36 point game where he went like 13 for 13 and he couldn't even get an NBA contract, so it's just like, it's like anything else. They look at these guys, but it's like investing in a high risk crypto project, like you want to know that there's like a ton of upside. And just frankly, an 18-year-old, regardless of if they're lying about their age or not, which is a different discussion, has more upside than a 28-year-old.
And if your surname is LeBron or James, sorry, if your surname is James, then kind of that helps. So I think people are realizing the European leagues are very good. I think if the Olympics are showing us one thing, it's showing the Americans that the European leagues are very good. We've seen the French dominate. Yeah, basically with the guys Wemby and Stump and people coming in. So my question would be, what did playing over there sort of teach you, or like what skills did basketball teach you that you sort of relate back to the space that you're in now?
Yeah, I mean, I think overall, right, it's similar in a lot of ways. You can take it from a work ethic perspective. Okay. Obviously with basketball, it's one of those things where you can work as hard as you want or as little as you want. And certain people do work harder than others, and similarly, especially like when you're in a startup environment, you don't have a coach necessarily. You don't have anybody telling you that you have to get something done. Like it's on you to kind of come up with that motivation to really perform at the highest level on a daily basis. And so that like self-accountability, I think, is huge and translates across so many aspects of life. I think the risk on personality comes across as well in my story. I'm not exactly afraid to take a chance, especially when it's something that I believe in. And so, I think that's very important when you're in the startup culture as well. And then also just like interesting story and storytelling, being able to connect with people. Like I feel like I've done so many different things that, at one point or another in my life, there's something that's about my story that's interesting and memorable and, is very important, especially for me sitting where I sit at Mira on our growth team and really trying to be an evangelist for the brand and, expand our relationships and make sure that we know as many people in the space as possible.
Okay, let's talk about Mira. You guys raised $9 million. How are you guys gonna spend that in the next 6 to 12 months? I'm sure you've seen the AI startup trend. They spend 75% of the budget buying a website. That's interesting. Are you guys also are you going to buy Mira.com for
Well,
6
luckily
more?
we already own our luckily we already own our website,
It's the
but that is
dumbest.
also bad.
It's sorry, but it's the dumbest thing ever. It's like,
Yeah,
how
and
do
then they
you
released
raise
a
and
trailer for
then
a Black Mirror episode, you know? So yeah, no, agree. Luckily, we are not in that boat, and we don't have to spend 75% of our fundraise on on a website, you know? And hopefully too, I think we are all of the opinion that $9 million is a sizable enough amount of money where it could last and should last more than 12 months. And so
yeah.
we have a number of different initiatives though that we're working on and
Okay.
prioritizing in the next 6 to 12 months. So we've got a team now of around 30 people looking to continually add, you know, engineering talent wherever we can, and a little bit more on the ecosystem side of things. So there's certain things that go into headcount. There are certain grants that we're also prioritizing, I would say. We have a number of different projects kind of building on top of Mira. So Mira as a platform, you know, and a network overall, and marketplace faces certain challenges, you know, that come across with chicken and the egg. Everyone's so familiar with the Airbnb story and whatnot, and they talk about this a lot. And so to really kickstart our marketplace, we're working on a number of different projects leveraging Mira's infrastructure. And so the first one for that is Clock, which is our dedicated crypto co-pilot, which we're really excited about and have been getting great feedback with. Hit me up if you want early access.
Cool.
Saying there might be an airdrop, but it will put you in the best position possible if there is one. And then there's a number of other projects. You know, Bitcraft was one of our lead investors, and so we're doing a lot on the gaming side of things, helping create certain models that can enhance gameplay. We're doing a lot on the consumer side of things with a number of different apps. One of them just launched last week, and I believe has already surpassed 5,000 DAUs. There's also a lot that's non-crypto related that we're working with. We're working with a production studio for a PDF reader script editor that helps summarize these tools and help increase the feedback loop when it comes to anything that they're trying to do, as well as this educational platform that's building models to help enhance your study habits and optimize your learning qualities, you know, which will be more of a B2B sales motion. And so we have a number of different projects that I'd say we're really trying to kickstart and showcase, you know, the power of our platform.
Interesting. Zuck came out the other day basically with open source AI, and sort of everyone lost their marbles a bit, because now it's like, oh, well, what's ChatGPT's, what's the moat now? Because they just went open source. So what's your sort of thoughts about open and closed AI ecosystems and where you guys are positioning yourselves?
Yeah, so I think, you know, when it comes to these different types of ecosystems, there's a number of different ways to go about it. I think we fall into more of a similar Zuckerberg camp. I would say, you know, he mentions in his article, you know, where he releases the next iteration of Llama, he mentions Linux and how these solutions have become more verticalized over time as it's become more efficient for businesses, you know. And so like you might want to leverage OpenAI in your business, but do you really need a 1.5 trillion parameter plus model to necessarily achieve these goals? Probably not, you know. And what does that do for you? That leads you to be able to create something much more verticalized and custom to fit your specific needs, as well as, you know, significant benefits in terms of cost, because you're not running through 1.5 trillion plus parameters. And so I think it really depends in the future, but we fall into this camp that over time, you know, as we've seen software become more verticalized, we believe the same thing and the same natural progression will happen in the AI landscape. And as AI becomes more verticalized, you know, there will be the need for these open source softwares, open source models rather, that you can easily customize. And then on the data side of things, you know, you can either leverage open source data, or if you have more proprietary data, you can keep that closed source. So while these models may or may not be opener, there's a lot of different variables going on, but we believe that these things will become more verticalized in the future, and we want to make sure that developers have the tools to create the custom AI products that they need.
Okay, that makes sense. Talk about verticalization. How exactly do you merge AI and blockchain?
So we do it in an interesting way. And, because we work with a lot of crypto native projects, but
Mm-hmm.
also, more Web 2 projects, we have the
Yeah.
ability to kind of obfuscate the blockchain from, view to a certain extent. Where it comes in and is really important is in a few different ways. So through our token economy, what we
Mm.
can do is with these models that we have on our platform, we wrap those within smart contracts as objects to ensure the validity of the person contributing the model,
Okay.
and to ensure that the net proceeds from the model and the usage of this model are distributed back to the right person. And so that's where blockchain comes in, really to enhance the security and also provide utility for our token, as we're able to redistribute funds back to the people creating the models and the people creating data. In the future as well, you can think that we'll be able to do really interesting things around incentivization of the creation of certain data sets, incentivizing the creation of certain models, as well as we have an interesting model that we're working towards around AI model evaluation. AI
Okay.
model eval is a very challenging space right now because of how multidimensional these reviews are. And so we're taking an approach with a lot of different evaluators, similarly to like if you're going to a restaurant for dinner, you'll go on Yelp and
Yeah.
whatnot, and you can see these reviews and you have a certain level of trust because of the multidimensional reviews that are being given.
Mm.
We'll have these evaluators giving reviews on the model so that you have a certain trust score, and these evaluators will have certain slashing penalties similarly to validators on proof of stake networks, if they're performing maliciously. And so there's a lot of interesting things that we can do with the token to incentivize certain areas, and then also, really drive a lot of value for AI more broadly.
Awesome. Sounds really interesting. Last question before I let you leave. Um, there's a lot of talk when I talk to startups and especially AI startups, there's a lot of talk about how hard resources are to come by. Talking about sort of it's um, not necessarily not decentralized, but not democratized, right? So what's sort of your take there? And again, in Mira's positioning in the space, how do you see it, like the access to large language models, training data, all that stuff? How is that going to play out for you guys?
Well, similarly to, what we touched on earlier, is like we really
Mm,
want to give people these tools and make it a lot easier for anyone to use them. Right now, if you are a developer building in the space, you'll probably have to leverage a number of different, SDKs and APIs to kind of create this end product that you're desiring. And then, you have a new iteration of Llama come out, and that just, leads you to starting over and, having to do a lot of this work over again. And so we want to create these fundamental building blocks that people can use to quickly spin up apps, similarly to how Wix and Webflow, really revolutionized how people build apps and get people curious and building. Then they'll experiment with the existing flows that we have on our platform. And then as they're experimenting more and more, maybe even this leads them to building custom flows, leveraging all the different partners that we have on the data side, all the different partners that we have on the model side, or helping them create their own model, and then all the different partners we have on the inference side, so that they can create these custom flows that'll really have staying power and accelerate their product roadmaps.
it's a brave new world, my friend. It's amazing. You're just thinking about what's possible, what's being built at the moment. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for joining me today. If the listeners want to go and find out about more what it is that you do and connect with you, where can they do that?
Yeah, follow us on Twitter. We're on Twitter at Mira Network. Check out our website, mira.network. And I think the best thing you can do is kind of get involved with what we're doing with our chatbot Clock. Feel free to come in and, ask it whatever crypto questions you're curious about, and learn more about some of the features and functionalities that we can offer.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today. And to our listeners, peace, love, and prosperity. Catch you on the next.